What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the It Kula Podcast. This is episode number 50. It's not technically 50 considering this is a new show entirely than when it was started. But on this channel, I have the old podcast from over 4 years ago when it was started, which I then took over to then become this new podcast, which is It Kula. So podcasting, this is my 50th episode in the span of over 4 years. There was about a 3-year hiatus in the middle of that. But yeah, very excited to get into this episode. Lots to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about, though, are the Toronto Maple Leafs. If you go back to a recent episode that I filmed with my special guest host, Owen, I talked about how I thought the Leafs were going to win the series in 6 games. They were going to win the first 3, then lose 2, and then win the last one in game 6. And look what happened. If you watched last night, I was correct. I placed that bet. I actually made a bet on that prior to the first round, that Leafs were going to win the first 3, then lose 2 to the Sens, and then win their last game in game 6. So just want to flex that a little bit, that I got that right. Owen thought I was pretty crazy saying that the Leafs were going to let the Sens win 2, but I know the Leafs, I guess, and I was correct. But something that really interesting that occurred was William Nylander, who ended up being the star of this game, almost did not play. What happened is something that's not common at all. But the Maple Leafs accidentally put his brother's number on the game sheet, meaning Nylander's name was not on the game sheet. And if they did not change that, then he would not have been allowed to play in game 6. It's not something you see often, but they somehow messed the numbers up and put his brother on. Nylander's brother was only on the Leafs for a very short time, and then he went to the AHL afterwards. And Nylander's one of the Leafs superstars. He's one of the most crucial players to the team. And thankfully, the NHL officials caught it and let the Leafs know, right? There was a chance that they weren't going to let them know. Thankfully, they did and informed the Leafs, and they were able to make a change to that error. Nylander ended up finishing the game. It was also his 29th birthday last night, and he finished the game with 2 goals, and the Maple Leafs got the win 4-2. And I also predicted that they were going to win the game 4-2. Just saying. So following that win against the Ottawa Senators, the Maple Leafs will now be playing the Florida Panthers. So they beat one of the Tkachuk brothers, and now they will be playing the other Tkachuk brothers. They beat Brady Tkachuk, and now they're on to Matthew Tkachuk. Is that an advantage? Or it's an advantage to Matthew Tkachuk, because he can talk to his brother about the series and how the Leafs were playing and how their goalie was playing and all that. It'll definitely be an interesting series. It will definitely be a hard one for the Leafs to get done against the reigning Stanley Cup champions. The Panthers are very strong. They have Brad Marchand, and Brad Marchand knows a thing or two about beating the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs. He did it his whole career while on the Boston Bruins, and now he's a Panther. So the Leafs are going into this as big underdogs. My prediction on a hockey NHL standpoint, analytics, and just history, I don't see the Maple Leafs getting the win in this series. However, if I want to think with my heart, and someone who lives in Toronto, repping the Blue Jays right now, the Leafs could get it done. I think the Leafs do have a real shot, considering they are the strongest that they have looked in my lifetime, probably. Matthews had a great game 6 after having a bit of a sloppy series. Marner needs to bounce back again. Tavares, Nylander's great, nice. Max Pacioretty had a huge goal. Max Domi's been playing really well as well. This team is looking good, and their goalie's been playing great as well. And their coaching is great. That's another thing you have to remember, is that their coaching is at an all-time high right now. So the Maple Leafs, if they're going to have a chance at getting to the finals, this is their year, if they really can do it all, because this is the best that they've looked. I think it'll be a very scrappy kind of series. I think it'll be very physical, maybe get a little dirty, a lot of trash talking, a lot of chirps, I would say. It's going to be a fun series, no question. And I think the Leafs really could pull it off. Though they're the big underdogs going into this, no question, but I think they really could pull it off. All right, now I want to talk about the Knicks Pistons game from last night. It was game 6. The Knicks were up 3-2 in the series. They were playing in Detroit. What a game. What a fourth quarter it was. Pistons were down by 10 with just a couple minutes to go, and then they made a comeback to take the lead. They were up by 5 points at one point. It was a crazy fourth quarter. But when you give the ball to Knicks superstar Jalen Brunson, you are in trouble. Brunson has the ball. Just a couple seconds left in this game. Game tied. Brunson, crossover, wide open 3, bang. He is clutch. 3-point lead with only 4 seconds to go. That was the dagger. The Pistons then lost the ball out of bounds. Kind of similar to what happened in the Bucks game with Gary Trent Jr., honestly. Not the same necessarily, but a little bit similar. The Pistons were not able to get it done. The Knicks were able to get the ball off of the turnover. Brunson is him. Brunson is so clutch. This is why he won Clutch Player of the Year, because he's able to do things like this. At an away game, all the pressure on you. Everything's riding on Brunson, right? He is the leader of this team, and he got it done with all the pressure in the world. He thrives with pressure, and that's why he's the most clutch player in the NBA right this second. Steph Curry, I would say right now, is also one of the most clutch. We'll see what happens tonight, Rockets versus Warriors, but Brunson, man, is awesome. Knicks Celtics, I'm a little worried for the Knicks because the Celtics are so powerful right now. A lot of people predicting a sweep. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think we could see an upset with this Knicks team, right? They're a different team than they were last year. I know they don't have Julius anymore or Dante DiVincenzo, but look, they got Cat. And Cat has been such a crucial part to that team on defense, on offense, on three-pointers, on rebounds. He's been crucial to it all. So I think it'll surprise a lot of people of how entertaining that series will be. All right, next I want to move on to the Wolves-Lakers series. The Wolves got it done. They got it done in 5 games, and I've been trying to tell people this, that the Wolves are the real deal. And finally, everyone is seeing that the Wolves are so powerful. I said going into the series, I thought it was going to go to 7 games. I was incorrect on that, but I was correct by how good this Wolves team is, how good Ant is, how good Julius Randle is, how good Naz is, how good Rudy Gobert had the best game of his playoff career in Game 5. He was been so quiet this entire series, and finally he came out when it mattered most. This team is so good right now. They will be taking on either the Warriors or Rockets. So tonight may determine who they are playing, unless it goes to Game 7, obviously. The Wolves are so good. They're still my pick for the championship. I think they can win the 2025 championship. They are extreme underdogs. I know that, but not anymore. After beating the Lakers, after beating LeBron and Luka and Austin Reeves, who was the 3rd option of the year, they got it done, and they are looking so good and so powerful. Ant-Man will become the best player in the NBA very soon, right? The legends are getting old. They're going to retire soon. LeBron, Steph Curry, KD. This league is now Anthony Edwards, and I think he can get it done this year. And I also said in my last episode that, was this going to be LeBron passing the torch to Ant? I think it really was. I think that was the moment that Ant will now become the real face of the NBA after beating LeBron, after beating all his idols. Look at him beating his idols, right? He said he beat KD in the first round last year, his idol. Then he beat LeBron, who he says is the GOAT. So, man, this is your league, and let's get it done this year. Now I want to talk a little bit about the NFL. It's not draft talk. I'm not talking about the draft right now. I'm talking about something that Rams star wide receiver Puka Nacua said in a recent interview. And what he said was how he's planning on retiring when he's about 30. And Puka Nacua is currently 23 years old. So a lot of people were not happy to hear this. And honestly, I think it's totally fine what he said. You go into the NFL, and I know you have these big dreams, and you want to play for 20 years. That doesn't happen if you're a wide receiver or a running back, or there's a lot of, listen, if you're a kicker and you're a quarterback, you can play for 25 years if you want. Look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady could still be in the NFL if he wants to be. But when you're a wide receiver, you are getting killed out there on every single play. You cannot play for 15 plus years. So Puka Nacua knows what his timeline in the NFL is. I was seeing some insiders and NFL personalities saying that the Rams should trade him just because of that comments. And extremely disagree with that take. He knows what his worth is in the NFL. He knows what his body can take in the NFL. He knows he can't play until he's 40 years old. He's saying he's probably going to be able to play until 30, and that makes sense. Look at Odell Beckham Jr., right? At one point, this is 10 years ago, we were saying that Odell was going to be the greatest receiver of all time. Right? He was on track to become that with his stats, with his highlights, with everything about him. And then look, he had injuries. And now, where is he in the NFL? Are you seeing him making plays anymore? Are you seeing making him that one-handed catch with the 3 fingers? No, because as a wide receiver, your career is not long. Most guys are not lucky to get to play 10 more years. So Nacua knows that in 7 years, his career is probably going to be done, and that's totally fine. And I would be happy to have him on the Giants, because it shows that he's willing to do everything in these next 7 years, or for however his body can take it, right? He's just being realistic, because in the NFL at 30, your body is pretty much done. You can no longer play football. You can no longer take a hit and be able to get up again and get on to the next play. So he's just realistic. This man is realistic. So nothing wrong with what he said. Most guys should think like this and plan accordingly to their future, because 30, you're very young still. Your life hasn't even started yet, according to people who are older than me say. So you got to plan accordingly for your life after football, and make your money, win your Super Bowls, make your Pro Bowls, but you'll know when the time is done, and that's what he's saying now. So enough with the hate. Come on. Okay, now I actually do want to talk a little bit about the draft. So the Cleveland Browns pretty much are saying that Shedeur Sanders will have a chance at making this team, right? It's him and another rookie quarterback. There's 2 other guys on this team that people aren't really talking about a lot, which are veterans Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, right? Joe Flacco, well, both guys actually won Super Bowls. Pickett didn't do anything as a backup, obviously. Flacco won the Ravens Super Bowl, 12, 13 years ago or so. There's competition in this Cleveland Browns QB room, and Shedeur Sanders could very well win that spot, right? The Browns drafted Dillon Gabriel, former Oregon quarterback, in the 3rd round. Then they went with Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. And this offseason as well, they acquired Kenny Pickett to be a backup quarterback, and Joe Flacco, who is a veteran, who has been in the NFL forever. These are 4 notable guys who can become the starting quarterback. So this training camp is going to be one for the books, I think, between these 4 guys, because they don't all get to make the team, right? You can't have 4 quarterbacks on your team, right? They'll have to go to the practice squad, right? So I think it'll be super interesting, and I very well see Shedeur Sanders winning this spot. I know there's so much hate on him. I know he's not football ready. Even I've said that. I've said that there's a lot of concerns that teams have with him. But he has to get out there in training camp and prove himself, right? When you're a 5th round pick, you're not getting the spot. You got to prove yourself, because right now they're probably thinking Dillon Gabriel's going to win that. He was their 3rd round selection. Shedeur's their 5th round. It's going to be a very, very tough battle, but I do see Shedeur Sanders getting the spot and will be starting for the Cleveland Browns in week 1. All right, sticking with some draft talk, there was some really exciting news about a quarterback from my former university, Laurier. I attended there for 4 years. My original podcast, when it used to be called Hawks Huddle Podcast, started off when I was a volunteer at the radio station. And we talked a little bit about Laurier. We had their head coach on back in 2020, the end of 2020. And there's some big news about a quarterback possibly becoming an NFL player. Taylor Elgersma, starting quarterback of the Laurier Golden Hawks, went undrafted, but he was at the Senior Bowl, and he was invited to many events. Though he went undrafted, he was invited to rookie mini camps with the Packers and the Bills. And he could make history becoming a Canadian quarterback in the NFL. Will he be able to make it in the NFL? That is a tough question. He was drafted into the CFL as the 18th overall pick. I'm sure they have some concerns. Winnipeg drafted him, actually. Some concerns because he may not be available, because he might be training to get into the NFL. I would love to see Taylor in the NFL. Are you kidding me? The fact that he could be in the NFL would be such an amazing story. And I know all of my friends, everyone from that school, they would all be supporting him. it would be quite the story. So he will be with the Bills. He was invited to both the Bills and Packers rookie camp. Would love to see him make the team. He was an absolute superstar for Canadian football. Got buzz from honestly all even like all over North America was talking about him, right? It wasn't just Canada. He was originally from London, Ontario. He went to Laurier. It would be an awesome story, so we're wishing you all the best, Taylor. All right, the WNBA will be returning very soon. It is now May. The season will be starting this month. I am so excited. We got Paige Beckers in Dallas. We got Caitlin Clark in Indiana. We got Angel Reese in Chicago with Haley Van Lith now. Future is so bright for the WNBA. I'm so excited. But there was some bad news that we heard recently. Georgia Ammore, Washington's first round selection, had to leave practice with an ACL injury. Not something you want to see from a rookie, not someone you want to see with so much potential. The team drafted her with their 6th overall pick last month, and she was a superstar with Kentucky. I really was excited to watch her ball out, but we're not so sure how severe this ACL injury what kind of injury it is to her ACL, if it's a full tear or not. I wish her all the best, and I really hope that she gets better and she can play, because I was really looking forward to watching her play because she is so exciting. And at the draft, Russell Westbrook actually helped design her outfit or pick out her outfit. So she has a lot of ties with the NBA, and she's just super cool. So never something you want to see, if it's a player you like or not. Injuries, man, in this sport is so common and has really ruined some people's careers. So hope that she gets better. Like, look, Paige Beckers, it happened to her, and look how she's the best she's ever been, right? So it doesn't mean it's over. It'll just, then Cameron Brink, right, in early last season, she missed most of her rookie year. So she has to just stay positive and get her knee better now. All right, that is going to do it on the 50th episode. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Talked some Knicks basketball, Jalen Brunson being the most clutch player in the league. Talked about how William Nylander almost did not get to play in Game 6. Talked a little bit about Shedeur Sanders possibly getting that starting role. Talked a little bit about the Wolves being real contenders. Talked a little bit of WNBA. And yeah, that's going to do it on this episode. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please subscribe to the channel and give this episode a like. And I will see you for episode number 51. Thanks.